So, Pete, my name is Stuart Meyers and I work for the greatest insurance company in Australia, Zurich.
That's congratulations, Stuart. How long have you worked for Zurich?
So I've been at Zurich now about 9 years.
Okay, and what do you do? What do you do at Zurich?
So I'm the regional manager of sales there at Zurich in New South Wales, ACT.
Okay.
So I have a team of BDMs in New South Wales looking after all our advisors.
All right, and how long have you held that role?
So I've been in that role around about 5 years now.
Okay, and what did you do with Zurich before then?
So I was a business development manager on the risk side.
Okay, and before Zurich, what did you get up to, Stuart?
Before Zurich, I was at ING for about 8 years, looking after corporate super tenders. Myself and a bloke named Robert Coulter used to do all the tenders for the Integra Super Fund at ING, and previous to that I was Royal Sun Alliance for 13 years.
Doing?
Under the risk side, business development manager.
Okay, so you've got a pretty good pedigree in terms of knowledge of the industry and what's important to advisors?
Yes, so I've been in the industry about 29 years now. But yeah, I think advisors, what they rely on is relationships and making sure that they actually deal with insurance companies that they can work with and get them and their clients insured.
Okay, so you'd have quite a few learnings across the journey, I suppose?
Yeah, there's been a fair few learning, a lot of change and a lot of good change as well.
Okay. Has anyone tapped you on the shoulder ever and said, what about you, Stuart? Do you want to be an advisor one day?
Yeah, I have actually plenty of times, and it's funny. A few of my colleagues from Royal Sun Alliance were sitting having a coffee one day, and they said, "If what happens if you weren't employed here at Royal Sun Alliance? What would you do?" And we all three of us said, "Become advisors." And of the three of us, two of them became very successful advisors: Ian Lewis and Damien Franco. And I'm still working for Zurich.
Yeah, but you've travelled down another path.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So going back even further, what did you want to do when you were at school? Did you have an ideal career in mind?
I think firstly getting employed was probably my number one goal, and I wasn't what you call the most studious person going around, but I wanted to be a butcher. My dad was a butcher, and I thought that was what I wanted to be. And my mum and dad thought that wasn't really the best career for myself, and it just so happens our next door neighbour worked for Capita Financial Group at the time, and I did work experience with Peter Lynch, and one thing led the other, and left high school and started work for Capita Financial Group.
So, like perhaps a lot of your peers, you kind of fell into the industry in a way, but you've stayed there?
Yeah, I don't too many people when they're looking at their careers saying I want to be a business development manager in the financial service industry.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of the greatest things I fell into. And I think the relationships and the people that you get to build knowledge, or not knowledge, understanding who they are, what makes them tick. But I actually really do enjoy building relationships with people and talking.
Sounds about right for you, Stuart.
Yes.
It suits you, I think.
Yeah.
So was Capita your first ever job?
Yeah, so Capita Financial Group, and then they were bought by Lend-Lease,
right?
Or MLC Lend-Lease at the time, and I did get offered a job, but I'd already been approached by another person at Oceanic Life, and so I went into the interview for the Lend-Lease job and said I didn't want to work in an office. I wanted to be a labourer and play rugby league and golf, and
sounds like a plan, Stuart.
Great man. They gave me a little bit of money to go at I think it was 18 and a half years of age. They paid me out a fair bit of money and I moved to a new company.
Oh, that's brilliant. But going back to Capita, what was your first annual salary at Capita? Can you remember?
I think it was about $13,500.
And can you remember, if you can, what you did with your first paycheck?
Yeah, I bought some clothes and I'm pretty sure I wasted it over a bar.
Okay, well, we won't explore that any further. Okay, so coming back to the present, what are the issues at the moment for advisors as far as you're concerned?
I think a lot of advisors, it's the uncertainty of the future. I think lift changes coming in January next year. There's a lot of great things happening. There's also a lot of advisors not sure what the future is going to hold for them. But I think the profitability of their business and also the long-term nature of them and their client relationships, I think is the most important.
Okay, so with a changing regulatory environment, what do you think the future does hold, particularly for risk-focused advisors? What do you see for their future?
I see that the certainty of the industry. I think there is some huge opportunities that are going to be coming out of lift. There are some challenges as well, absolutely, from a cash flow point of view. But I think the long-term sustainability is the most important thing that's going to happen.
Okay, fine. And for your own future, perhaps one day you might leave Zurich. Have you got a bucket list of your own, Stuart? What's going on there?
Yeah, probably professional golfer would be my number one on my bucket list, and hopefully one day be where you are, Peter.
Okay, well, let's have a talk about that later, but for the meantime, thanks for your time, Stuart.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
See you later.